telling them how much jail time they facing if they don't, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm not gonna tell you why. But so then you get Doug Weinstein up on a cross-examination after this, right? Weinstein is like, hey, so you're a liar, right? Zachary's like, yeah, I was lying. He was like, your autism is not what made you lie, is it? He's like, no. He's like, people with autism don't just lie, right? That doesn't make people lie. He's like, nah. He's like, ADHD doesn't make you lie either, right? He was like, no. He's like, you were lying just to protect yourself, right? Zachary is like, yeah. Weinstein is like, and you were saying F everybody else, right? Zachary is like, yeah, F everybody else. He was like, especially my client Yak. You were saying F him, weren't you? He said, yeah, pretty much. And then Zachary says, and I was especially wrong for that because Yak ain't never did nothing but show me love. So I was super crazy for doing him like that because it was all love with him. I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, my man Weinstein says, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, it was a good show. He put on a little show for the jury, you know, with the whole thank you. I appreciate that. So, you know, it sucked because if they really did lie on Yak Gotti, it's so crazy because they actually have him on the gas station video, clear as day, coming in and out of the gas station. So it's like, it's really like being framed crazy if he didn't do it. I don't know. But if he really did not do that and they framed him like this, just basing it on him going to the gas station, just imagine if he got a call that day and let's just say Woody hit him. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know. And Woody say, hey, meet me at the gas station. And then Woody just never show up to the gas station. Like just so he can have them going in and out the gas station on camera. Now, I don't know if he's that diabolical because that would be out of pocket. That'd be crazy. However, what if? What if? I don't know. So then they go break for the day. They come back on Wednesday. We're gonna breeze right through this because Brian Steele did a great job also with his cross-examination. So Brian Steele comes up and you know, he wants to establish the early days of how Lil D came to know Thug and all that when you met Thug. And once again, like I said, he said he knew Thug's sisters before he met him. He gets he talks about, yo, you was supporting him as a rapper. He was a rapper in the early days. The whole neighborhood was behind him. Y'all would help him out on tour and stuff like that. He was really doing favors. Everybody came behind him to support him as a rapper. And Zachary is like, yep, that's what we was on because he was lit. He was already lit before he got big. Before y'all knew who he was big in Atlanta. And he was definitely big in the neighborhood. So he like, yeah, by the time 2012 got here, if you're a local person, Young Thug 2012, he's huge, right? I'm not huge like globally, but he's way beyond the neighborhood by that point. 2012, Thug is cracking. So, but Brian Steele gets Quindarrius Zachary to admit that Woody definitely had a violent beef with Shell Kel and they have been shooting at each other. He says, Copeland told you about violent crimes that he was committing against Shell Kel, wasn't he? He said something like that. And Zachary's like, yeah. And then he's like, and Woody was the one with the beef with Nut, right? It wasn't Jeffrey. He's like, yeah, he is. He's like, you knew about him robbing him for a chain, right? He was like, I didn't remember what he took. I just knew it was some jewelry. But yeah, he is the one that had the beef with Nut. He was like, you also knew that Jeffrey and Nut were friendly with each other. They were together just days before the murder. He's like, yeah. Let me see. So he also was getting into that. He's talking about how, if Thug ever asked him to kill anybody, he's like, no. He was like, Thug wasn't on that. He didn't even, when we was getting in shootouts with people, he didn't even know about it. He was making music. He was touring. He was in studios. Like, he didn't know what we was doing. We was getting in the streets, getting active. He didn't know nothing about that. So he actually, now this is what they said. I don't know where this came from, but this is what they're saying is that when Nut got killed, Thug was actually questioning, like, why would somebody kill him? You know what I mean? So Quindarrius Zachary agreed to it. He's like, yeah, he did say that. Now, he actually said that Thug pretty much, they haven't spoken to each other since middle of 2015 when Zachary gets arrested for that shooting, the April shooting. He got arrested in like August, and he caught a bunch of charges. He was facing up to 189 years, whatever it was. He never spoke to Thug or seen Thug again after that. He was locked up until like 2022, got out, and he never seen him again. So pretty much, that's more proof of Thug cutting people off when they get too deep into bullcrap, right? Getting you in shootouts, you robbing people, you getting locked up for bullcrap, you're getting cut off. This is yet another example of that. So while they try to make it seem like he's just keeping people around that's doing all this foolishness, time after time after time, we find out that another person has been cut off for violating and is looking like you about to bring the whole music thing down because you want to keep on robbing people, you want to keep shooting at people, you want to shoot people, stuff like that. So Thug will cut you off. I don't know who was advising him back then, but I think they was advising him correctly. But the problem is the Fulton County District Attorney's Office is still trying to charge Thug for the crimes of these people that he had cut off for committing crimes, right? And it's crazy, right? I had put this on Twitter that this is what they tell young dudes as they become rappers and become stars and all that. They say, hey, you need to cut the dead weight. You need to get people away from you that's doing this crazy stuff in the streets, the one with the 1 foot in, 1 foot out, all that. Thug was doing that. They roped him into this RICO because he was cool with them at some point. Even though he cut them off, it's still like, no, you used to be friends with them. You used to be around them all the time. So their crimes are your crimes. Because you have a YSL record label and because they was repping YSL, all of y'all did this together. You are co-conspirators. Some of these guys are unindicted co-conspirators. Now, Quindarrius Zachary has this 24-5-507 immunity order, and Kenneth Copeland, one of the Reapers around here, also has the same type of immunity order, meaning everything he talked about on the stand, he is free from prosecution for any of it. So all of that whole, I'm not going to when Woody was like, I'm not going to confess and I'm not going to tell y'all I did it and all this type of stuff, they can never come after him for that now. It don't matter what they find out. They could have found out that, there was a jogger running around that night and actually recorded the whole thing. They wouldn't be able to use anything to get at him. So it's a wrap on that, So Brian still got Zachary to admit some wild stuff. And actually, let me see. Let me see what I got here. So during one of the breaks, right? During one of the breaks, there's an argument that starts between Love and Still. And Love is pretty much saying that, hey, these guys pretty much got to the dad. And Love and Still and Shark got to the dad, and whatever they said to the dad, he related to Quindarrius Zachary, and then Quindarrius Zachary wasn't being cooperative, right? Still is like, I didn't say nothing to that man. I watched Lil D's dad do an interview. He said, I never spoke to none of them, right? Love decides, okay, well, I'm gonna play this phone call. So the judge let me hear the phone call. She plays the phone call between Lil D's dad and the investigator. So they arguing with each other, and pretty much the investigator is saying, where's your son at? I need to meet with your son. I got a warrant for your son. Where is he at? The dad is like, listen, we don't want to meet and talk about nothing. Just tell us when it's time to come to the court so that we can testify and we're done. We don't want to talk about nothing. We don't want to meet about nothing. He is going to show up and testify, and that's it. Now, the interesting thing about it is Lil D's dad refers to his son and his son's behavior as we. He's like we. So he's taking it on him as himself. We are going to come down there and testify when it's time for us to testify. We are not going to meet you. We don't want to meet you. We don't want to talk about nothing. We just want to testify and get it over it. We not for the sideshow. We don't want to do none of that extra stuff that y'all keep doing out here. Somehow, now the confusing part to me was Love acted like the reason that they had to lock Quindarrius Zachary up was because of that phone call. But the investigator said they already had the warrant for his arrest before that phone call happened. So what did Love go tell Whitaker to get her to sign off on an order to arrest Quindarrius Zachary? He said, I never told y'all I wasn't going to come testify. So Attorney Love plays that court recording, and then Whitaker is like, so Steele is like, I don't want that played. I object to that being played. Whitaker is like, I don't even understand why she wants to be played. I don't know why anybody would want that to be played. It doesn't show anybody in a good light. Pretty much what she was saying is that, excuse me, Miss Love, this actually makes you look bad. Why would you want to play that? So that whole thing was dead already. I really don't understand what Love was thinking either, because when you hear that, if that's not witness intimidation, then I don't know what is. That's first of all. Second of all, y'all locked that man up because of something his dad said. That's actually very crazy. This man is in his 30s. He's a 30-something-year-old man, and you locking him up because of something a family member is saying. You have to make that make sense. I don't think they can make it make sense. So Judge Whitaker really saved Love from herself, because I don't know if the jury is going home and still listen to it on their own, but if the jury would have heard that, and then the defense got a chance to cross-examine what was played or recross based on what was played, that would have buried the state's case even further in whatever rabbit hole it's in now. Is beyond ridiculous at this point. Let me see here. Now, Brian Steele does his thing, gets Zachary to agree to a lot. He gets him to admit a lot. Like, yes, I was lying on them. Yes, Woody is the one that had the beef. Yes, Thug wasn't even in the streets like that. Yeah, all of this type of stuff, right? So then we back on redirect. So, right, Love is back up there on redirect. And for whatever reason, Attorney Love just has this thing about her where she wants to prove to the world that Quindarrius Zachary can read. He actually can read, guys. And she's stuck on this idea that he can read. She is completely, once again, abandoned proving the guilt of the defendants. She is now making it her mission to show this person lied about being able to read. So she's like, hey, back there, Brian Steele showed you this tour pamphlet, and he told you to go find XYZ. Quindarrius Zachary's like, I didn't look at the names. I looked at the dates. I told him Chicago, and then he pointed at the date. I didn't know what none of this stuff said. I just kept telling him Chicago, and then he pointed at it. So this like Love just went back to her corner like, touche. And then came back with something else. And then at some point, Love is like, hey, Judge, I want to show this video of him in the interrogation room writing things on the paper. The judge is like, what is that going to show? She's like, not only is it going to, pretty much she was trying to beat around the bush. She only wanted to use it to prove that he could read and write, whatever. She's like, he's actually writing the suspects' names on the pictures, and he signed his own name. The judge is like, is that what you want to use? You want to do that to show that he can't read? I mean, he actually can read? Love is like, yes, that amongst other things. No, she was lying. She just wanted to show that he was reading, right? But she wanted to play the video on mute. She wanted it with no audio, right? So then come to find out, Max Shard, shout out to him, stands up and says, hey, Judge, based on the transcript, Quindarrius Zachary actually asked how to spell their names as he was writing. He didn't know how to spell these people's names as he was writing. He said the transcript right here says that he asked Gaither how to spell doo-wop. Extremely basic type of name, right? Doo-wop, right? And they have to tell him how to spell that. So Love thought that she was about to pull a fast one on everybody, to be like, oh, I want to do it without audio because I don't want to, whatever reason she wanted to do it without audio. We know why. And then once Max Shard brought that up, guess what? She never ended up even using the video. So she was trying to play the whole time. She was playing around, right? So, I mean, how many times Quindarrius Zachary she brought up something to him, like said, yo, I need you to read this. And he was like, are you trying to make fun of me? Are you like joking with me or something like that? Because he already said, I told you I can't read already, right? And here's another trick that Love tried to play with Quindarrius Zachary, right? She goes to his plea deal from the 2015 shooting, right, of Denise Bell and all these other people, right? She goes to that, pulls up the plea deal, and it says, she's like, hey, didn't you plead guilty to this gang-related case? He was like, I pled guilty, but it wasn't a gang shooting. The reason that they added the YSL part is because of me, because I was repping YSL, so they just put it in the plea. But it wasn't, the shooting had nothing to do with YSL. Then she said, she goes up there and read this thing like, so where it says that this was a YSL shooting and all of this type of stuff. You didn't agree to that? He was like, no, it wasn't a YSL shooting. It was because of me, right? And what I think she was trying to do is I think she was trying to get him to read the actual words, what the words said. And then she was going to say, I got you. You can read. But he never did that. So it fell flat because the line about YSL in that plea deal clearly said, while in association with YSL, committed these acts. It didn't say committed these acts in the furtherance of YSL and the furtherance to boost the reputation of YSL. It said none of that. It said while in association with YSL, meaning just like he said, that YSL part was added because of my association with YSL. So they added that in there. He was on point. Once again, he has been pretty much transparent with all of his testimony, minus the details that the state didn't already know, right? He has been pretty straightforward with his testimony. He's not like a lot of these other people that get on the stand where they say they don't remember or they don't recall. He remembers what he said. He remembers why he said it. He remembers what he did not say, and he remembers what happened, right? So they're trying to trick him up and get him to say something different. He said the same stuff from Friday to Wednesday. He was saying the same stuff over and over and over again. He wasn't changing it, and I think that was frustrating Love, and I think that's why she ended up saying, you know what, out of here. I don't have anything left for him. So that's why she didn't end up using that video, and that's why it fell flat. Y'all locked that man up just to get that testimony up out of him. Like, it didn't work out for you, man. Once again, another witness not working out for the state because they keep using coercive tactics to get people to get on the stand. And it's not working out for him, right? So, finally, some more recalls from Weinstein still, and then he was let off the stand. He's like, hey, can I take this ankle monitor off now? And the judge is like, you sure can. And Love gave a little chuckle and all that, and she thought it was funny that he wanted his ankle monitor off that he probably shouldn't have had anyway. Now, we could all hope that they don't go after him for perjury so that he can't get cooked with the probation time. But if we know anything about Georgia, and I do know some things about Georgia, they're definitely going to go after him for a probation violation. And they're going to try to give him as much of that time back. Like that probation time, they're going to try to give him as much as they can, right? So that's just how they do. That's why they give so much probation time in Georgia. They know that they'll get you eventually. Don't even worry about it. They're like, you'll be back. Don't worry about it. Recidivism going crazy in Georgia, right? So then next we get Ricardo Leal. And what we all found out, his actual job title with T-Mobile, legit his job title, testifier. That's all he does. He travels around the country testifying in cases where T-Mobile records have been subpoenaed and now it's time to go to trial with those records. That's what his job is. He don't do nothing else. He is a testifier. He is a custodian of records for T-Mobile, and he understands everything about T-Mobile records and he can explain it. He worked for Sprint before. T-Mobile bought Sprint, so he has knowledge of Sprint records and T-Mobile records. This man is a savant when it comes to testifying about mobile data records. I didn't, they asked him stuff. He was getting on it. I didn't think that it was like particularly, I didn't think it helped anybody's case, what he got up there said. So, I don't think the state benefited at all from that.